To bring you a look at the press now with Dipti. She's starting here in France. French bills, MPs rejecting that bill, which planned to merge France's public broadcasters altogether, Dipti, directly affecting us as well.
Indeed, Stuart, the topic is dominating the dailies here in France today. This is the front page of L'Humanité, the French communist paper, which says that Rachida Dati persists, public service resists. Now, basically what happened on Monday is that French MPs rejected the text, which I'll explain in a minute, before it could even be debated in the National Assembly. Now, the text will now head to the Senate for another hearing. L'Humanité, like a lot of the left-wing papers, are rejoicing in this sort of dramatic turn of events on Monday. Nobody really expected that it would be rejected before it was even up for debate. In any case, that headline there, Dati's, in reference to this woman here, Rachida Dati, the French culture minister, who's spearheading this controversial bill. Now, Libération says, the left-wing paper says that the MP's outright rejection of the text is a, quote, slap in the face for Rachida Dati, noting she was also abandoned in that vote by Emmanuel Macron's ruling coalition. And in its editorial today, the paper calls it a total failure for Rachida Dati. They say she's failed for a fourth time in trying to pass through this controversial bill, accusing her of pursuing it dogmatically as a means to seek revenge on journalists who have reported and investigated her numerous corruption scandals.
Yeah, it is controversial. It's also quite complicated, but Dipti's found a piece in Le Monde paper which explains exactly what the reform is about.
Yeah, that's right. Le Monde looks at it on its front page, which also before I get into it, it also reports there that, you know, it's not yet dead in the water, that the far right could come and could weigh in on the debate, which could help sway things in one direction or another. So anyway, the reform is concretely what some have called a French-style BBC holding. The proposal wants to merge the three major public services, so France Télévisions, Radio France, and INA, which is the National Institute of Archives. Those opposed to it say it would hamper editorial independence, offer fewer resources at a time when public services and editorial independence are crucial. Le Monde here noting that the reform also comes at a time when all of these services seem to be doing fairly well. Radio France's podcasts are listened to by a lot of people. France Télévisions is holding strong against competition. Of course, though, they do face existential threats, notably from an aging audience or aging population, and also fierce competition from on-demand TV.
Yeah, we shall see what comes out of that one next. Now, to the New York Times today is looking at how tough times for the Mexican Sinaloa cartel could push them to make some dangerous alliances.
Yeah, it's a really interesting article in the New York Times, well worth a read. It's about how cartel fighters from the Sinaloa cartel are looking to make new alliances. Now, the Sinaloa cartel is the world's most feared fentanyl cartel. It's reeling right now from internal fighting, but also crackdowns from Mexico and the U.S., which has badly dented their business. Now, the cartel has for years run a global empire relying on alliances with affiliates around the world. Now what's happened is a certain number of events have led to intra-cartel fighting and violence, and a group of, or fraction of the group, are now possibly allying with a powerful enemy, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. So this is one of their rivals with whom now they're allying with, or creating an alliance that could turn the Jalisco New Generation Cartel into the world's biggest drug trafficker. It could also redraw alliances and power structures and the global drug trade in general. As one expert puts it, it's as if the east coast of the U.S. seceded during the Cold War and reached out to the Soviet Union.
Now, the British daily The Guardian today, very haunting photo report, looks at horrific sexual violence inflicted against Tigray women in Ethiopia.
Yeah, this photo report is by a Uruguayan filmmaker called Jimena Borazas, and she specializes in documenting humanitarian conflict. And so she's turned her attention to the Tigray region in Ethiopia, and notably the women, females who were impacted by the war back in 2020. Tens of thousands of Tigrayan women were raped by Eritrean and Ethiopian soldiers. Some, as this photo report documents here, had foreign objects forcibly inserted into their uterus. In some cases, they were metal screws. In other cases, they were letters, handwritten letters by soldiers wrapped in plastic. And some of those letters explained a desire to render the women infertile so that the Tigrayan population could end. Some expressed a desire to seek revenge for the Tigray's border war back in the 1990s. Others, as you see in these pictures, were subjected to horrific acid attacks. And what's even harder to accept or understand is that 90% of these women have not received medical or psychological help. Justice is something that's even farther of a prospect for them.
Yeah, horrific pictures. Let's lighten things just at the end. An amateur tennis player is going to face Carlos Alcaraz in the second round of Wimbledon.
Alcaraz.
Alcaraz, sorry, Alcatraz.
Not the prison.
I can't believe I said that. Alcaraz.
It's a common mistake. Yeah, that's right, Stuart. His name is Oliver Tarvet, and he's the Tarvet target, as Daily Express says here. He's ranked 733 in the world. He's the lowest ranked player in the entire men's singles draw, I think the entire singles draw at Wimbledon this year. But he won his first match, the first round match, in 3 sets over his Swiss opponent. He actually earned nearly 100,000 pounds just for that win. However, he does not get to keep all the prize money because he's an amateur and he's actually still in college. He's in a U.S. college right now, and it means, and collegiate rules there mean he can only receive about 1/10 of his prize money. But he is able to, as the Telegraph explains here, use that money to invest in paying for tennis tournaments around the world. So it's not all lost. But anyway, before all of that, he's got a second round Mount Everest match here, a spot with Alcaraz in the second round that they will play out on Wednesday. I think whatever happens, it's going to be an incredible moment for him to play Carlos Alcaraz in the second round at Wimbledon.
Just make sure you say it right. Just make sure.
Nonetheless.
Dipti, thanks a lot. Dipti with the papers here on France 24.